Welcome to Focus on DeSoto Today, a public information program produced by the City of DeSoto's Community Relations Department. This series of programs is designed to present in discussion format topics of current interest to DeSoto residents. I'm Kathy Jones and I'll be your host today. Our topic of discussion is the DeSoto Dining and Dialogue program. Joining me today are a couple of the board members from that program. We have Dorothy Pierce. Hi, Dorothy. And then David Scott, who's the chairperson of Dining and Dialogue, and I'm also
Kathy.
on that board.
Okay.
So thank you for being here today.
You're quite welcome.
David, you're probably our longest serving board member. Tell us a little bit about how DeSoto Dining and Dialogue came about. And
Well, it all started back in 2004, actually January of 2004. The mayor at that time was Michael Hurt, and the city manager was Jim Baugh. And they were both faced with a rapidly changing demographic shift here in DeSoto. A lot of the Caucasians were leaving the city, and a lot of African Americans were coming into the city. And while that in itself is not a bad thing, both groups really kind of distrusted each other and were not comfortable with each other. And so Mayor Hurt and Jim Baugh decided that maybe if they got the two groups together, that they could come together and find out that really they had more similarities than they had differences. You know,
and it really has to be on a one-on-one basis. No?
Yeah. You know, and so they came up with the idea of having this dinner where we would have a host and a hostess, a facilitator to ask the questions and keep the conversation going, and then 8 guests that would be of both races, and give them a chance to meet each other and talk to each other. You know, there's something about breaking bread with a fellow person that allows you to relax and maybe bring out the best in both of you. So.
Great way to get to know your neighbors.
Absolutely. And so, you know, they just decided that they would have this deal. It was called DeSoto Dining and Dialogue. It was kind of modeled after a program in Dallas, but we had to do a few things ourselves, and so we set it up for January of 2004. The mayor sent out invitations to people of both races, and we actually had 6 dinner tables that first time, and so brought 80 or so people together to talk with each other and answer some questions. And that was the whole premise, is that every table would answer the same questions. And the idea of the questions were to bring people's values out, to bring their characteristics out. Some of the early questions were, you know, what was your first encounter with racism? What brought you to the city of DeSoto? Why did you come here? You know, and so got just talking to each other that way. And you know, our poster child is Sandy Respis. I think you all know Sandy. Serves on the city council. But you know, Sandy was a classic suburbanite. You know, he lived in his house. He got up in the morning. He went to Dallas, worked all day, came back, went back in his house, and never interacted with anybody here in DeSoto. And he really had no interest to interact with anybody here in DeSoto. And so when his wife, Becky, said, Sandy, you're going to come to this dinner with me, and he said, I don't want to go to that dinner. And she said yes, and he, being the good husband that he is, decided to go to the dinner.
Off they go.
When he was at the dinner, he met 2 MIT graduates and a Stanford graduate. And he's a bit of an academic himself, and so he was very impressed with that. And he said, maybe there's something to being here in the suburbs. And you know, he decided to get involved with the DeSoto Dining and Dialogue, and now the rest is history. You know, I mean, he's city council, he's on our board, he's, you know, concerned DeSoto citizens, Rotary. I mean, he's involved in all kinds of things.
So that was a way for him to get to know the city, get acclimated, and just participate in things.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And so that, you know, that was, the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, it's been a very rewarding program, and I know you've all seen the signs and banners that say DeSoto All-America City. This program was one of the programs that qualified us for that award. It's really kind of unique to DeSoto. Dallas does one similar to it, but I get calls about every 3 or 4 months from some other city that wants to know, how we set it up, whether it's successful, and so far it's been very successful. And
yeah,
we'll keep it going.
We've held 3 dinners every year for the last 8 years, and there's a lot of people that have come to dinner, and I know you also get calls on how do we keep it going.
For sure, we do.
And so, at some point in time, a couple of years ago, we actually stopped the racial questions somewhat, not completely, but became more of community issues that we were interested in.
Yeah,
so.
Just things that interested the people that were around the table.
That's exactly right.
And we really, we welcome anybody that wants to come. All you have to do is live or work in DeSoto. But we're not so focused on race as we had been.
That's
just
right.
because hopefully we've all evolved past that, and we're just all neighbors now.
Hopefully.
We need 3 things to make this program successful. We need someone to open their home, which are the hosts, and all these dinners take place in people's homes in DeSoto for the most part. A couple of times they don't. A couple of times they've hosted them in restaurants, but typically they're in homes. We need facilitators and guests. First thing we want to talk about is what does it take to be a host? Because we're always looking for new folks. We have several that have hosted every time. Several of our board members and then other people in the community are very good at stepping forward, but we'd always like to have other people in the program.
Exactly.
It's pretty easy. All you have to do, there will be probably between 8 and 10 people that will be assigned to your home. You open your home, you have dinner, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You need some kind of really light appetizer. It can be a glass of tea or cookie, crackers, that kind of thing. A salad, some kind of casserole for your main course, and a dessert, and you're done. You serve it, and then the facilitator will take over from there.
But the dinner is on you.
But the dinner is on the host.
Okay,
Yes, it's at their expense, and we obviously that's why we like to rotate and get new folks in, because we don't want to take advantage of the same people every time. But
so don't you have a class that kind of
yes,
helps
we do have a training program and for host and facilitators. The next big category that we need are facilitators, and I know Dorothy, you facilitate. Both of you have actually.
Yes. Facilitated quite a few times.
What does it take to be a facilitator, and how does that program work?
Well, the first thing, if you kind of people shy a little bit, there's a training that you go to, and they give you everything step by step before every dinner, and you come away with this binder with all of your instructions and everything that you need to say. So you don't really have to wing everything. You have very good guidelines, and then once you get that, you kind of take a look at the list that you have and call the people and let them know who you are, and the host, you let them know that you'll be facilitating, and then you call the guest and to make sure that they will be available, and then to let them know that you'll be the person that'll be facilitating, and all of that is prior to the night of the dinner. And on the night of the dinner, that the facilitator is there to assist the host in any way that they can, help do whatever is needed.
One thing that the facilitator is instrumental in is the board comes up with a list of questions for every dinner. We usually have 6 or 7, and some of the questions repeat, but lately, since we've kind of gone more to community topics, we pick a topic and we have a question about that topic. This time it's going to be about the future of our city, the leadership. We've got a big election coming up in May, and 2 of our city council members are termed out, so they will definitely not be. There will be several new faces on our city council.
Right.
And what does that mean to the community, and do people know that, and can they get involved? So that's one of the things that the facilitator will guide their table through that discussion. So they're very, very important. And they also get some help with that during the training that they have.
And like you said, the questions are not always the same when you have the dinners. They vary, but they are based on community issues, so that the people at the table can get to know a little bit about the city, know a little bit about their neighbors, and some of the events and things that's going on in the city. So the questions are always very good. So the facilitator helps with that night. Everybody's sitting at dinner, and we discuss the questions. Of course, the facilitator works through that.
Everyone around the table
has a chance to answer the questions.
And I know, David, you know that you can't let anyone monopolize the
That's
situation.
right. That's right. There's been some times where you got to kind of, okay, back off. Now, we haven't heard from you yet, so come on.
Yeah,
And
that's probably the hardest part. Is to
it
pull
is.
out the quiet ones.
It's kind of an art form, really. You know, I mean,
you have some people that will want to say what they have to say and won't stop until they need to. But as a facilitator, you know how to work with that as well. So just to kind of keep things moving. And of course, at the end of the dinner, everybody's saying bye. You've met people that you know you didn't know in the beginning, and they have questions. You give them questions to answer at the table, and they turn those questions in. And we also there we find out who wants to be a host or who wants to facilitate at the next dinner
or come as a guest again.
Right, right, or come as a guest. So we get all of those things done that night, and then it's time to go. They have a couple hours to do it, and it's time to go. So the guests all leave. We stay there with the host until all the guests are gone, and then we kind of talk about what went on and do a little summary, and that's the end of it.
Well, and that's another thing too, to be sure to reiterate that the host, their responsibility is for to open their home and for the dinner, but they can or they don't have to participate. Right. You take it from there once the question part starts. Right. They get to either participate or just relax while that part happens. So they don't have to worry about, oh, I don't know what to say, I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I'm a great cook, and I'd love to have people come to my house. So it's really a good program, and it's a great way for people to get to know each other.
And we've had some really good meals.
Oh, yeah.
Really good meals. And then we've had some other meals.
No, for the most part, they're pretty good.
Yeah, no, they are.
It's all in fun.
Right. And we even try, if we have people that are diabetic or don't eat meat, we try to, we ask for that information so that we can have the host accommodate that. Right. But the most important part of this program, what really will sink it if we don't keep going forward, is we've got to have guests. We've got to have people that want to participate in the program.
That's true.
That's my job on the board. And so I am always out there in our city newsletter, anywhere I can find to put the word out, trying to find people that have never attended a dinner, or if you have, we don't care if you come to 20 dinners. We'd love for you to come again.
That's right.
It's very easy. All you have to do is commit to come. Our next dinner is January 26th at 6:30, which is a Saturday evening. And if you'd like to attend as a guest, you either need to work or live in DeSoto so that you have some connection to our community. I've even had calls from people from Red Oak. Oh, DeSoto's cool. I'd like to come to your dinner. Well, we'd love to have you, but you got to kind of know the community. so
that's be part of the community.
Yeah, and be part of the community. So that's the purpose by that rule. It's not that we're trying to keep people out. We want to be able to participate in the discussion. They have to live or work in DeSoto, and then all you have to do is go to our website to register. That address is www.desotodd.org. Or, when you get to the homepage, go to the left-hand side and you'll see a guest registration box, and you click on that and you can fill in all your information. An email comes straight to me. I have your information. I will assign you to a table. Or if you're not a computer person, just call me on the phone. 972-230-9648, and I'll take down all your information and we'll get you in that way. We try to balance the tables as much as we can. We still try to stick with balancing the racial mix, but we also try to balance by age, which means that we want to have senior citizens, we want to have middle-aged people, and we also have students. And Dorothy helps me get students. Tell us a little bit about that program.
Having students add a little interest, a little more interest.
Yeah, they have to be high school
students, right? They get credit, community credit.
5 community service hours.
So they always like to go and they like to do that. But
so if you've got a child out there that needs some community service hours, this is a great way to get
a bunch. A great way to get it, and it's also good for those that are sitting at the table because you get another view of how the students feel. Right. You might get a little bit to know what's going on in the high school because they'll talk about that and how the things in the city affect the kids in the school, things that we may not know,
especially when
if
schools
we don't
are
have
a
the
topic.
Kids there.
We hear what, as adults, we hear one thing, but when you have a student there that's actually living it every day, you get a much different perspective and a lot clearer picture of that it really is a good place. And here again, the students can get 5 community service hours. What we would like for them to do is come with their parents, but they can come on their own if they'd like. And here again, they just go to the website and register or call me. Let's see, we need guests, we need hosts. We've got a dinner coming up on the 26th. Is there anything else that I've forgotten, David?
Well, you know, the DeSoto Dining and Dialogue has always been a grassroots effort.
Yes.
Okay. The vast majority of people that have come to dinner have enjoyed the experience.
Absolutely.
And we need those people to tell their neighbors and say, Kathy, you know what I did Saturday night? I met a whole bunch of new people, and we talked about things here at DeSoto, and I had a great time. And that encourages them to come to the dinner as well. So we need that, those former, the people that have come to former dinners to talk it up, volunteer, whatever. But you know, this whole process is all about learning that DeSoto or deciding to own DeSoto.
Right.
It becomes just like your church. You own that church. It's not the minister's church, it's your church.
Right.
And it's not the mayor's town, it's not the city manager's town, it's my town. And if you take possession of your town, you want the best for it.
Absolutely.
And the way that you get the town to be better is to get involved. And that could be in city council, it could be in the Rotary, in the Lions Club, the Chamber of Commerce.
And David, not to cut you off, but you know, many times at the table we have guests. The mayor has come.
Oh, yeah.
The city manager has come.
Absolutely.
And so as a guest, you get to learn a lot about
absolutely.
the city.
Absolutely.
So that's very good.
And in fact, a number of years ago, before we started this program, it was very easy to get on one of the boards and commissions here in DeSoto because nobody knew anything about them, wanted to be on them. After the program went into effect, it got to be the point where you had to apply to get on it.
You are interviewed.
That's right.
Yes.
And so that's because and we take
And that's a great
I take
thing.
credit for that. I mean, through DeSoto Dining and Dialogue,
Sure.
because we emphasize getting involved with the community, whatever it is. You know, whether you want to be a mentor to a student at the high school or in the schooling area, get involved with the public library. I mean, there's all kinds of things that people can do. Citizens on Patrol. There are all kinds of things that people can do.
And that is one of the things the facilitator does at every dinner is they have a couple of sheets of information on who to contact if you want to be involved in which organization, and we pass that out and make sure people
That's right. That's right.
have that so that they can go away with some phone numbers that they can call.
Absolutely. But you know, really, we are the summary of our people. And if people want to get DeSoto to be a better place to live and work, they need to get involved.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And if nothing else, at the end of the day, when you go up to Tom Thumb, you'll see somebody that you had dinner with, and you'll be friends at that point.
Right.
You'll
That's
go
right.
up and shake hands. One thing that happens almost at every dinner is when it's over, sometimes you have to kick them out the door because they're having such a good time and they're shaking hands and exchanging phone numbers and wanting to keep in touch. So we feel like we do something good when we work on these dinners. And it's all a volunteer effort. This board is a volunteer board. We are a working board. We work hard.
Absolutely.
But we feel like it's really beneficial for the community. And
Absolutely.
we're happy to do it.
Absolutely.
Well, again, our next dinner is January 26th at 6:30. I just need to have you register before January 14th. That's our deadline so that we can make sure we get all the appropriate paperwork out. Go to the website, DeSotoDD.org, or call me, 972-230-9648. Again, I'd like to thank our viewers for tuning in today, and I'd also like to thank my fellow DeSoto Dining and Dialogue board members, Dorothy Pierce and David Scott. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for asking us.
And be sure and go to the website and register.
That's right.
Right.
We need you.
That's right. We need you. And thanks again to everyone out there for tuning in to another edition of Focus on DeSoto Today.
Thanks.